What's up? What's up, man?
Good evening.
Welcome. We'll give it a second here. How's your day been? Your Saturday?
It's been good. I think that I'm still, I wake up hoping that college football will have somehow just started again. That has
Yeah.
yet to happen. But there is lots going on to follow, obviously. So, but nothing as good as college football, in my opinion. What about you?
Yeah, I had to. It's been a week, man. But I had a great day. I built a trampoline with my kids, and it was a great day to cap off a crazy week. And so, crazy week in my life, but crazy week in the NFL too. So we're gonna get into some stuff here. But this is it's been wild. Anyway, let's start with an intro here, and then we'll kick it off. But welcome to the Sideline Podcast. My name is Kevin Showalter. As always, my co-host is Jared Booker. We're two best friends who love football, fantasy football, and pretty much anything sports. I think Booker was on X talking Tupac this week, tacos. So you're going to get a little bit of everything with us. But we love football. We love fantasy football. That's kind of where this started, and we're branching out. We are still planning to start a listener league or a Campus to Canton league. Even if you don't listen, you want to play fantasy football with us, feel free. You're welcome. We will have more information coming out on that soon. We also have a March Madness group going to be on ESPN. Winner gets the championship team's hat. Booker and I have been doing this for many years, and we've decided to invite RJ Wilson. Actually, we did what was our competition in football? It was the pick.
Oh, it was the mania, the
Pick'em
bowl
mania.
pick'em.
Yeah,
bowl pick'em.
That's right. So for first time this year, we did an NCAA Bowl Mania pick'em. RJ Wilson was our first winner, and his hat should either be there or in the mail. And yeah, so this March, keep an eye out for that. Brackets should be coming out soon. But yeah, without further ado, got some free agency related trivia for you, Book. So
oh my! And while you're pulling those up, I do want to say it's been, for whatever reason, I've had a hard time like communicating exactly what the championship hat is. So just as an example for everyone to lay it to bed, if Duke wins this year, whoever wins our March Madness bracket will be getting the Duke national championship hat that the players are wearing on the court after the game. And so that is what we mean by the championship hat of the team that wins it all. So, yep. Now he's probably got the trivia up.
Yeah. All right. True or false? These are all going to be true or false. True or false? Randy Moss was traded. Oh, sorry. From the Patriots to the Vikings in 2010 during free agency.
So I know that he obviously started out in Minnesota, and that's where he had a majority of his production and where he really made a name for himself. I've heard of players going back to where they kind of started. So I'm going to go true on that.
It is true. It is true. I did not know that, actually. When I was doing research for this question, I was like, I don't remember Randy going back to Minnesota. And actually, he went to Minnesota, Tennessee, and finished up his career for one partial season, I believe, in San Fran. There are the teams listed in his career. But yeah, interesting fact. One other question. We were talking coaches last week, and one of the coaches signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Liam Cohen. True or false, Liam Cohen played professional football as a quarterback?
Ooh. I truthfully don't know. I know he's, the offensive coordinator for Tampa Bay for a while, correct?
Yep.
A lot of those offensive coordinators are past quarterbacks because they understand offenses and how to communicate them. So I'm going to go true on that as well, even though I don't know.
He was a quarterback, and this was a tricky one. He actually, and again, I don't know if I mentioned this. I'm coming to you mobile tonight, so apologies for any lights in the background. He was a quarterback, for the Alabama Vipers, which I believe still classifies as a professional because it was a professional arena football. So it was kind of a tricky one because he did not make it to the NFL, but he did play as a professional quarterback. It does say just one season as the Alabama Vipers. I'm not sure if that's based on his performance or that the league shut down. So, to be continued.
Yeah.
On that note, I don't know if it was on the McAfee show or what. And again, we're going to keep this kind of short tonight, so keep me on track from rabbit trailing too much. Is there spring football happening? Because I heard that the quarterbacks were protesting. They wanted $60K a year instead of 55 for a spring league. Have you heard anything of that? Is a UFL a thing, or are they officially done?
That's a great question. If anyone that's listening knows that answer, while I look it up, I don't know. Let's see here.
Not critical, but just if you see anything.
Yeah, it's showing that their season opener is March 28. But I don't know. From what I'm seeing here, I'm not seeing that there's been any controversy or anything like that. But that does not mean that there is not. There's just been so much controversy and different things happening all around that I've just not heard of that. So.
Well, yeah, great segue. There has been just a few stories in the news this week. Why don't you take us away here? What's been happening in the world of sport this week, and just any newsworthy topics you'd like to talk about this evening.
Man, so I think what I'd like to start off with is the interaction between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron. Did you see that?
I did see it. I just a scroll past it on X. I haven't looked into it too much, but I did see it.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I was not sure what to think. Truthfully, I'm not a huge Stephen A. Smith fan. And this kind of cemented it for me. But you know what I heard, so apparently after the Knicks game on March 6th, LeBron approaches Stephen A. Smith, and in the video, probably everyone if there's folks on here, they have seen it if they watch sports. But Stephen A. Smith's back is to the camera, and LeBron is like just this mountain of a man towering over Stephen A. Smith, and he's yelling at him. And so Stephen A. Smith came out and said, he was saying, basically keep my son's name out of your mouth, like. Don't talk about Bronny. And so yeah. I think that's a very interesting situation because am I correct in saying that there's never been a father-son playing on the same
first time.
First time ever. So we're in new territory here. Obviously LeBron James is a dad, but he's also a professional athlete, an incredible one at that. But I don't agree. I would love to hear your take as to whether Stephen A. Smith's just doing his job. And if Bronny is not playing well, he deserves the same mud being slung as anybody else, because that's what newscasters, sportscasters do. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, did Bronny play in that game? That would be, again, I don't know much on the situation. My thought is if he said something from the sideline about somebody who's barely playing this year, I don't know. You talk trash about my boy, we're going to have problems. So, I definitely understand the father instincts from LeBron. And, I'm guessing Stephen A. might have had a drink or two in him, too. He's a professional, so maybe not, but he's at the game. He's enjoying himself. I thought they had a good relationship. So, this isn't like Skip Bayless where, he's a known LeBron hater. I thought Stephen A. was like a LeBron guy. So it definitely interesting for sure. I don't know if there's much to say about Bronny. He's in the G League. He's on a two-way contract. He's a 19-year-old kid playing in the NBA with his dad. Honestly, I don't. It's just funny. It's a funny thing. I think one thing is interesting always about LeBron is someone like Myles Garrett. LeBron is a larger human being and athlete than Myles Garrett, and so it's just always amazing. When you see somebody out where I don't know if I've ever even seen an NBA player, but like you see somebody that big, your first thought is like, oh, they might be they're probably in the NBA because it's like this guy's smacking his head on door frames. Like, that guy's got to be in the NBA. So anyway, I just think it's an interesting thing. You talk trash on somebody's kid, I'd expect the father horns, no matter if that's middle of the game or what. But
yeah. The funny thing is too is I saw I don't know if this is actually true or not, but I saw that Skip Bayless and Stephen A were going to get back together now because they share a mutual dislike of LeBron. So I don't know if that's actually true or not, but
I doubt that. But
yeah, probably not. The only other thing that I want to bring up, and I jumped on this bandwagon pretty darn quick, waking up to, and by the way, like whether Xavier, we're going to talk about Xavier Worthy, whether he did or did not do what those allegations are, obviously, like, you don't make light of like domestic violence and there's never a good reason to do that. But when I saw that, just as a sports fan and someone who is pretty outspokenly against Kansas City all the time, I jumped on a couple comment trains to throw in my 2 pieces and throw a little bit of shade his way. So apparently, I mean, everyone knows the story, but apparently recently within the last couple hours, he was actually the police released him. And so there is question as to whether he did what he said he did, but what the individual said he did that got him originally arrested. But I just want to know, with Rashee Rice, Tyreek Hill, I mean, did you see all the mugshots? You've almost got an entire longest yard football team of Kansas City Chiefs. Is there something in the barbecue sauce in KC that is getting these boys all riled up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go full blown Eagles are better than Chiefs because I definitely could go there in this moment. What is relevant? I heard Howie Roseman come out this week and say there's certain issues that if a player has even 10 years ago when you were 15, there was any hint of domestic violence, any hint of this kind of stuff, it's a non-starter for them. Like you're off their draft board. I think there's other teams like the Raiders, like the Chiefs. You could clearly say they don't have that same criteria. Again, these guys are looking for employment. I'm not saying, people deserve a second chance. I do think it's always important as well. Let's get the facts out. This could be somebody did something really wrong and they look like Xavier Worthy. This could be Xavier Worthy is a crook and, should go to jail. We just don't know. And so it's got to be innocent until proven guilty. Let's let the legal process, the evidence, the everything to play itself out. That being said, like you said, it's not a great look when there's a consistent flow of players from the same team. They have great leadership on that team, but for some reason, I don't know if it's the continual winning, kind of makes people feel maybe invincible of like, hey, I can do whatever I want. Again, if he's guilty. If he's not guilty, then let's come out and say that. But it's definitely interesting when it's multiple players. Again, it's not a great look. It's definitely not a great look. So.
And then I likened it too. Like you had Kirby Smart over in Georgia. There was that rash season where like all the Georgia players were getting behind the wheels, of a fast car and getting speeding tickets or getting pulled over, or just vehicle related incidents. And obviously Georgia is another team with a wild amount of success. So there's merit to the feeling of maybe being invincible, or even in your own town. Like if you're a Georgia Bulldog football player and in Athens, Georgia, you probably get treated differently. You probably can get away with some things. You get that extra scoop of ice cream at Cold Stone, but you can't speed. But then you also have on the other side of that, devil's advocate, you got Nick Saban at Alabama. I don't remember. I mean, he had that team kind of in line at all times. So
and again, it's Alabama. We're looking for players of high character. Again, it's not saying if you go to Georgia, you're not a high character player. It's just Alabama had a history of, hey, you better have high personal character to come and represent our brand. If you don't, then it's just gonna, you know, it's gonna be a non-starter. And yeah, there's
Yep.
other schools where they will gladly take someone who's talented, and because it's easy to convince yourself, hey, we'll get this guy in the right system. We're gonna get him, good people around him. We're gonna pull him up, but a lot of times that stuff, uh, it's gonna come out eventually, and so, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any other newsworthy things this week? We will get into some trades and more football related. Any other things that had the Twitter world buzzing?
Well, I mean, I know that the Bronchich thing has been going
I did
buck
see that.
wild. Although tonight they're getting whipped by the Celtics. But people are talking Lakers to the final now that
Yeah.
Luka's there. So that's been going pretty wild this week as well.
Yeah. Yep.
But
all right,
other than that, just wild trades, man. Wild trades and free agency. So
yeah. So let's go there. Let's go free agency first, and then maybe we'll get into some trades / fantasy football implications. Okay, so free agency preview. It's funny because so my understanding is the guys signing deals this week, even if they are a free agent to be, if you are part of that team. So Zach Bond with the Eagles, he's not technically he's under his contract runs out at the start of the next free agency. So you can sign that player to an extension early, where after Monday hits, really it's after Wednesday hits, then they are open season for everybody else. So again, Monday we're going to get all the trade news because that is what they like to call the legal tampering period. Wednesday is when all these deals are made official, but Wednesday noon, 9 a.m. on the West Coast, it should start popping off on some of these big names. So let's start with Chris Godwin, Tampa Bay wide receiver. He's played there his whole career. He was having a career season last year. Went down with a nasty ankle injury. All reports, I don't have them in front of me, but he should be back in time for training camp, back this coming season. I believe he's only 28 years old, so we're not talking about a 32-year-old wide receiver. He is young. Chris Godwin, where do you think he lands? Does he go back to Tampa? Does he follow Liam Cohen to Jacksonville? Somewhere else?
Well, I think he's kind of interesting because when you talk about, I mean, he's in his 8 seasons, he's had 4 of those seasons, he's had over 1,000 yards receiving. And so he is a solid receiver, but I think that he's been eclipsed. Mike Evans is the name as far as wide receivers go in Tampa Bay, other than Cade Otton, of course, but Mike Evans is that guy. So, but Chris Godwin has been really solid. So I think that he probably goes to Jacksonville. Obviously, with his familiarity with Liam Cohen being his former offensive coordinator in Tampa, and Jacksonville has a lot of cap space because of recent cuts. So that's one option. I also think maybe the New England Patriots, they lead the league actually in cap room, and they really do need a wide receiver one. And I think Chris Godwin could go there and make a name for himself. So, but there is you got Drake May, young quarterback. What do you think of those two teams? And do you have another team you'd like to throw in there?
Give me 1 second here. Yeah, I think you're spot on. I wouldn't disagree too much. The two to the Jaguars is interesting because they came out this offseason and said, hey, this team is going to run through Brian Thomas Jr. I think cutting or trading Christian Kirk is like a huge, hey, this and Evan Ingram. So there are plenty of targets available in Jacksonville. So that is a natural fit. You've often heard hey, coaches like to bring in a guy that knows their offense, can not only produce, but can help teach and translate the language to the rest of the team. That is huge to have. So with the Bucks, they drafted Jalen McMillan last year, and he had some good flashes as a rookie. I wonder if they. I mean, they want to bring. I think they want to bring him back. He is a staple in that community. He is not quite Mike Evans. He hasn't been there as long, but like you have to think they want to bring him back. I wonder with having Jalen McMillan, opportunities to bring in more guys to catch balls in the draft. You know, again, I'm not as familiar with the cap situation there, but the Patriots is interesting. They're going to get somebody. They're going to spend on somebody. I'm not sure if it's going to be him or somebody else. Let's go. There's a lot of buzz here. Justin Fields. Is he going back to the Steelers? Is he going to Seattle? What is Justin Fields going to do, or what are the Steelers going to do?
Man, well, I've got a couple ideas, but I mean, Justin Fields obviously, in my opinion, has underperformed what people thought coming out of Ohio State. Just he's dual threat. The guy's got wheels, and he could throw the ball. He was spinning it at Ohio State, and so I think that maybe in Chicago he obviously was not. I mean, is he like Caleb Williams? Like Caleb Williams, blue chip guy, but he gets thrown into that Bears offense and doesn't look like a blue chip guy. So maybe Justin Fields in another offense where he gets the helm does shine a little bit more. But he was sacked over 150 times over the past 3 years. So his pocket awareness and pass protection has not been consistent. I think so. He's only 24. I'm thinking potentially the Las Vegas Raiders, the Bear or the Raiders.
Not the Raiders. Not the Raiders. Behind Geno, you think?
Oh man, well, so they hired like Luke Getsy is there, correct, from the Bears? Bears offensive coordinator Luke Getsy.
Yeah. So you think they'd bring in Justin Fields behind Geno Smith?
Well, I don't think Geno has a ton. I really don't think Geno has a ton left. Do you?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the market for Justin Fields is somebody's going to bring him in to either start or compete as a starter. I don't necessarily think the Raiders would bring in. Maybe they see, a young Russell Wilson and they could get that kind of flash out of him, but. I have a hard time thinking he would want to go to the Raiders and sort of be in the exact same situation as this past year.
Yeah,
I could see him wanting to go to like an Indy where it's like, hey, I think I can beat out Anthony Richardson and have a true competition. Where like you have to think they're going to give Geno $40 million a year. Like he's going to be the guy. Not impossible, but I'd look probably elsewhere on that. I honestly think he re-signs. I saw something this week of I actually thought it was real, and I was about to start going crazy on X, and then I was like, oh, it's rumors. It's not a confirmed deal, but it was Garrett Wilson to the Steelers, and I was like, I was about to lose my mind because Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields played together in college, and we've seen that model. So that would be my ideal for my Campus to Canton team. And I posted something about that of like, if they could make a trade for Garrett Wilson, but then you also saw DK Metcalf rumors to the Steelers. So it's almost like I think the Steelers take a big swing, but they have to figure out the quarterback situation first. So
yeah.
Speaking of quarterbacks, let's go to Sam Darnold. He's getting $250 million. I think that's going to happen. You win 14 games, as good as he looked on that team. It didn't end well, but teams are quarterback crazy. Where's he go? Back to the Vikings, somewhere else?
I think he goes somewhere else. I think he wants more than the Vikings have been in a cap situation for a while. And so I think he wants too much for the Vikings to keep him on. And I think that they get JJ McCarthy rolling personally. For Darnold, maybe the Colts, maybe Seattle. Those are probably the two that I would think. Like if Richardson is unable to pull it together, Darnold could be brought in to stabilize that position. The Seattle Seahawks obviously just lost Geno Smith or traded him away. It's a run-first system in Seattle, so I think that Darnold might be a good fit. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
There's a lot of buzz. I wonder if he just re-signs. I don't know. They seem set on JJ McCarthy. My mind keeps going back to the hip hip hooray, Sam Darnold up on people's shoulders. The allure of JJ McCarthy on a rookie contract is there. It seems like KOC could borderline put you out there with a helmet on and a green dot and win some games. But part of me just thinks they're going to bring Sam Darnold back. He's going to find a way to stay in that winning culture. That being said, there's a lot of teams with a lot of money. And could I see, especially the Seattle thing is interesting now because you have to think they're going to want somebody younger, trying to establish a culture, not crazy expectations. So I think it would be a good fit for Sam Darnold. That you go there, you're not expected to win a Super Bowl right away. Where like if he resigns for Minnesota for $250 million, like the expectation is, hey, we can go. We've got a good team. We just won 14 games. Like you need to win a Super Bowl on this contract. Where like if he goes to Seattle, he gets a bag and he can just go play football and let the chips lie where they may. So we'll see. He's an interesting one for sure. Is he an elite quarterback or did he have an elite play caller? I don't know. There's never
I'm
been
leaning that way. I need to see one more year.
There's never been a doubt that he can't spin the ball, but it'll be interesting. One guy on the defensive.
Sorry, may I say? I'm just going to cut you off for a moment. I feel like there's a trend, and I mean, in this we are a microwave generation. Like we just want things really, really fast. Expect Caleb Williams to come out and do work. Darnold was a high prospect, expected to do work and didn't do well. I think that there are exceptions to that, like Jaden Daniels, obviously, and others. But I think this just takes time to adjust to the speed of the game. Like practice just doesn't cut it. So I mean, maybe Darnold is an elite quarterback, and he just took a little bit of time to get used to this. But anyway,
yeah. Let's go. I was going to go defensive side of the ball. Let's do one more on offense, and then we'll move on to some fantasy football implications, and we'll wrap it there. Devontae Adams, he is a free agent. Let me ask you this question. Does he follow Aaron Rodgers, or does he go somewhere else? The rumors, the chatter is he wants opportunity to start. You got to think he wants a bag. You got to think he wants a chance to win. If he can get all of that and play with a quarterback that he trusts and he loves, then I'm sure. But if the Patriots offer him $40 million a year, then he might have to reconsider that. But yeah, so back to my question: does he follow Aaron Rodgers to the Giants or somewhere like that, or does he go to a different team? And which team do you think that is?
Well, my question for you is: do you think that Devontae Adams is worth $40 million?
It's in the eye of the beholder. A team like the Patriots, who really wanted T. Higgins, do they when they have a rookie? See, when you have a rookie contract quarterback, instead of paying that quarterback $60 million, now paying a wide receiver premium money. Now, I don't think he's getting $40 million. I think Chase, Jefferson, they're at the age where they get that. But is he getting 30? Easy, easy.
Yeah. I think that I saw something like a post when he was standing behind Aaron Rodgers when he went to the Jets, and people were just talking about how that was just going to be an elite combo. And I don't know. I don't know if maybe it's because Rodgers he just doesn't have it anymore and didn't utilize Devontae, or maybe there's too many mouths to feed with Garrett Wilson, or maybe they couldn't protect him. But I just didn't see elite upside out of Devontae Adams. So I think somewhere he could land. Let's see here. I wrote down a couple potential places. What do you think? I mean, in light of what's going on, what do you think about like the Kansas City Chiefs? You had DeAndre Hopkins head that way.
That would be their MO. They like to bring in the aging vet wide receivers. I think they're probably looking for somebody on a more budget price point than he'd have to take a major discount to go there.
Yeah, maybe a Michael Gallup would go to Kansas City.
Yeah, that feels more in their price range.
Yeah,
day 2 or 3 guys. A couple weeks from now, those still out there. That's what they're going to look to. They're going to look to bring in.
Yeah. New York Giants. That's another option.
That feels like the obvious. That feels like the fit. Both in the quarterback, and I think it is, to answer my own question, I think it is probably most likely that he follows Aaron Rodgers. I just think they enjoy playing together. They have the chemistry. You saw it down the stretch that he still got it. For whatever reason, he might not be prime Devontae Adams, 18 touchdowns, 1,700 yards, but like, can he still cook defenses? And he can best cook defenses with a quarterback that, can just give him a glance. And that's worth a couple million off the contract. You'd have to think. So, all right, let's do some fantasy football implications, and we will land this jet plane here tonight. So, Geno Smith quarterback value. So this is fantasy football. What are you laughing?
Sorry, I don't know why I cannot get on the Geno Smith train. There's so many people. Tom Brady is like speaking so highly about Geno Smith. Like Tom Brady,
he's a quarterback now.
I understand. And he's a part of the Raiders. I mean, he has a stake in the Raiders. So like when Tom Brady says, I don't know, that decision had to go partially through Brady, didn't it?
Oh yeah,
he had a say. Yeah,
absolutely.
And he wanted Geno. What am I missing?
Well, it's a culture fit. Anyway, all right. So my question is, Geno Smith's quarterback value next year. By how you're talking, you don't see him as a top 10. Is he a top 15 quarterback, top 20, or worse? In the Pete Carroll offense, Brock Bowers, maybe a rookie wide receiver.
Well, am I wrong in saying Pete Carroll's more of a run? He's not a West Coast. He's more run first. I don't know who do they have? Is Zeus still there running the ball for?
Yeah, sounds right.
Okay, so I think he's a top 15 because I think I do think he's pretty smart. Yeah. I don't think that he's an incredible quarterback. I would call him serviceable or a little above serviceable. But with Brock Bowers, and I believe they have a really great offensive line, if I'm not incorrect, over there in Oakland. So, and I think he's going to be put in some good positions with that defense, maybe creating some turnover. So maybe top 10, maybe top 15. But
there's so many good quarterbacks. It's a hard question for sure.
Yeah.
How about these two guys that really want to be traded? Who has the better fantasy football season next year? Do you like DK Metcalf or Garrett Wilson?
It completely depends on where they land.
But you have to pick one now.
If I have to pick one now, I'm going DK Metcalf. I just feel like between the speed and the size, he's a big target to hit, even if he goes to a team with a quarterback that is not elite. So I would go DK. But I really do love Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, the fit will be huge. But yeah, I would go DK as well. And I have a lot of stock in Garrett Wilson and Dynasty. So yeah, I'm hoping for a good fit. But in the end, DK has just been a proven stud in this league. Let's go Christian Kirk, and we'll end here. Christian Kirk, fantasy value in Houston next year. I got roasted on the internet for this. I was saying when they're all healthy, but people did correct me, and the internet is undefeated at correcting you when you say something that's not fully up to date. But Tank Dell is going to be out most likely next year. Diggs is going to be a free agent. My only thought was when they're all healthy and you've got Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Christian Kirk, Joe Mixon, Dalton Schultz. Like, you got all these guys. You're not going to know who to start. Now I think Nico has cemented himself as a top 5 to 10 wide receiver. So I think he is going to be the 1A no matter who is suiting up. But if you've got like a Tank Dell and a Christian Kirk and they're both healthy, like, good luck knowing who to start, because Tank Dell could go 2 for 70 with 2 touchdowns and Christian Kirk could go 11 for 65, and they score relatively similar games. I think that would have been more points for Tank Dell in that situation. But what do you think Christian Kirk's value is next year in Houston? He's got an improved quarterback, offense, and an opportunity. He's got an opportunity in that offense to cement with Tank Dell potentially being out. Can he be a top 20 wide receiver next year?
No, unless he becomes a safety valve for Stroud. I thought, hey, Jacksonville's offense has been kind of anemic. Is it Trevor Lawrence's fault? What's going on? And then Brian Thomas Jr. comes in and just absolutely puts the league on notice. And so I think that when you put those two side by side, you've got a rookie, elite rookie. I think last year before Kirk got injured, he had 27 receptions for 379 yards and 1 touchdown. And that's just not. Do you know what week that was? What week
I don't remember, but Jacksonville was a dumpster fire last year. So I hear you on that. I think he's still got a lot of value if used properly. And as that safety valve, as a PPR machine, he's great in the red zone. I think there's value there. It'll be interesting to see how Houston uses him. So time will tell. Again, we are planning to start a Campus of Canton League. Let us know if we will have some posts coming out. Feel free to reach out of like, hey, I want to play in a Campus of Canton League. We'd love to. We have a few more spots available, and more information will be coming out soon. We'll probably have drafts around summertime. And so, really starting to get some momentum on that. March Madness brackets, keep an eye out for that as well. I think that's all for this evening. Until next time, see you later.